What?
I don't think they were. I think they were expecting Warlock Shadow Priest, and they wanted Windwalker Mage for Warlock Shadow Priest. That's what I think Method EU were expecting in game
Really?
one, because I feel like we're going to see it more and more. The Warlock Shadow Priest into Shadow Priest Mage, so Method EU felt threatened, and then Reload Esports. I feel like this is not guaranteed to either side, so this blind pick isn't a huge advantage, which is going to add a lot of stress to both teams.
Yeah, 100%. I think with I'm not sure. I feel like Reload Esports, they have like two comps that we've really seen them shine at. And it's been that Shadow Priest Warrior Shaman, what they just looked in now. And it's been the Rat Warrior as well. And we know that Method EU has a Shadow Priest Mage, right? So you don't want to run the Rat Warrior into that. So maybe this is their answer for Shadow Priest Mage. And Method EU dodging that answer to Shadow Priest Mage with Mage Windwalker. I actually don't think it's that bad of a matchup for Mage Windwalker, but it depends on Whaazz Walker here because I think he's going to be targeted in a lot of these storm bolts from Merce, and I think he can definitely go down very quickly. That's one of the weaknesses of the Windwalker right now.
Gates have opened. Thesia going into invisibility. You have to wait and see if they start this game with crowd control or not. Windwalker Mage is known for both defense and offense, so they are going to have to make a strategy selection. They are piling on top of Lontar and Vilaye at the moment, looking for Dragon's Breath, getting Stormbolted. It actually looks like he was able to Shadow Meld the Stormbolt.
Yeah.
Thesia immuned the Stormbolt and land the Polymorph. That was a really insane play, setting up his team quite effectively, popping the Combustion, trying to take down both the Shadow Priest and the Warrior through the redirected damage on Intervene, but Lontar looks sturdy and ready for the damage, with that Healing Tide Totem already placed, recovering his team. Now Whaazz having this game turned around on him. He's down very low and diffusing to trade out, and that is more than an effective trade here for all of the cooldowns committed by Reload Esports. And Whaazz continues to stay on target, interrupting Vilaye, putting him behind and really putting the stress on, trying to get a couple of Shadow Ments while Lontar's in a Polymorph. Defensive Psychic Scream. Lontar still crowd controlled, finally coming out of the Hammer of Justice to try and connect some heals, but Whaazz Walker is getting a lot of uptime, still has the Zwen, popping that Storm Earth and Fire, instantly Stormbolt on it. Good shutdown by Merce. Vilaye's trying to get into Void Form, but is this the right time? Zwen has been called into the fight, getting rooted up for a moment by that Earth Grab Totem of Lontar. Very important they crowd control that. They've got good counter momentum onto Whaazz. What are they going to trade? They're not going to make a trade. Reload Esports are going to take game one, and this is devastating for Method EU. They're already down 2 series in the circuit. This needs to be the turnaround series for them.
Yeah, I mean, that was just a complete and utter disaster. I mean, for Reload Esports, they're going to be super happy to be walking away with a quick win, but for Method EU, they're going to have to snap out of it because, like you said, this is such an important series for them. They're at risk of being 0-3, which you would never expect from this team, and I do wonder if they're going to be making a change with their composition, if this was the matchup they wanted. What are they thinking after that game?
Yeah, definitely a good question, Ben. It's interesting to see these guys try something new, and they weren't able to pull that off in game number 1, so we'll have to see what they've got planned for this next game, but we can break down how that all went down here at the end with Method EU.
Yeah, so here it looks like they have pretty good pressure. They just had a CC chain onto Lontar. Zwen has been called in. Whaazz gets Stormbolted here. He takes a little bit of damage. And here comes the Fist of Fury. The Zwen gets rooted there by Lontar. And then here, they're just doing a lot of pressure. Mercy's in battle stance right now, and Whaazz just gets flopped. Yeah, it's the warrior damage. Mercy in battle stance. I don't know. Was that an execute proc? Or was that like
Had to
a
have been a condemn, yeah.
Yeah.
I feel like condemn, shadow, or death. Like if you dip below,
No,
if you dip into execute range, like you're getting double executed by a shadow priest and a warrior. So you really can't let yourself. I feel like they were feeling comfortable because their paladin had Avenging Wrath up, which is normally like, oh, no one takes damage during this. But obviously, I think a sharpened blade when you're in execute range, you're not even going to be able to get more than just one Holy Shock through on that. So they needed to trade. I don't know if this is the matchup that they really want. I mean, they must have been expecting something different than Ret Warrior. Otherwise, they would have just gone with Shadow Priest Mage. So it's still a little bit surprising.
I didn't even think that was a Shadow Warrior to death. Like, you could see Vilaye's globals, and he literally just applied his dots and did a Void Bolt. I think it was just Mercy. Like, yeah, I think it was a big condemn for sure.
Okay, well,
Happens.
Definitely, as we just saw right
Yeah,
there, Reload
see?
Esports already up 1-0, and they did in fact, stick with that composition. Are we surprised at all?
I mean,
No,
this is really what I thought. This is what I thought they wanted to do. So, I mean, the Method EU, they're going to lock in it again. The thing about the Windwalker Monk is you do a lot of damage, especially to kind of a stationary target like a Shadow Priest. If you can stay on target, you will be able to put out just a lot of overall damage and pressure. The problem is you're also very squishy, so you have to be very careful if you're Whaazz. Make sure you're porting away. Make sure you're preemptively trading out cooldowns and be ready to go. Because I feel like if Method EU, they mismanage their defensive cooldowns or just slip up for a second, we're going to see exactly what happened in that last game. So you have to be really, really careful in this matchup, as Whaazz is just such a vulnerable target.
Yeah, and they're in a vulnerable position right now. I mean, you guys touched on it when that last game was ending. Like, Method EU, they were like the very, very highly seeded here going into the circuit. They didn't have a win for that first weekend, and now they're already down 1 point against a sort of an underdog team here. Reload Esports, much lower seeded at least, and now they're up 1-0 here, and they've got to turn this around right now if they want to try and get back to that spot that they want to be in, because they are certainly running out of chances here. But game number 2, sticking with that composition, Whaazz on his all. Let's see what they can do heading into Ashmane's Fall.
All right, well, I feel like for Method EU, it's all going to be about those consistent setups. If they can just stay on target, just basically sit on Vilaye for as long as possible, get out that consistent damage. The thing is, Reload Esports, they're going to be pretty durable. I mean, Merce just sitting on top of Whaazz, storm-bolting his Fist of Fury, intervening a lot of that incoming damage, using, Intimidating Shout, shut him down. We're going to have to see cross-crowd control. We might just see that right now. Big combustion immediately onto Vilaye. He needs to be careful. Dispersion trades out, so he's making the trades, but exactly what we wanted to see. Thesia doing a great job with the Dragon's Breath Polymorph on Merce before that setup comes out, and that way Merce can't completely and totally shut down Whaazz.
Yeah, but it was kind of strange there because they didn't use the Paralyze, and now they're doing it, Paralyze into Blinding Light, so they were saving that for the second go here, potentially. Thesia trying to get a Polymorph, don't think he's going to find it. Lontar gets the wind shear right there. Thesia going for the Ring of Frost, actually lands a DR Ring of Frost there, but Lontar's going to break out of that one. He gets Hammer of Justice now, Vilaye's by himself here, Zwen is all over him as well, and Thesia gets feared right there, so Vilaye should be able to survive now. If Lontar can get a couple of heals out there, he should be fine now, I think. But now Whaazz is the one on the back foot here. Merce in battle stance again. There was a Stormbolt as well. Still a lot of pressure though. Another Paralyze onto Lontar. Do they have a leg sweep or something? Dragon's Breath. Anything out of that? I'm not sure. Ooh, they forced a Spirit Link Totem and the Trinket there actually as well. A lot of damage there. And this Windwalker Mage looks very, very solid right now.
I mean, game number 2 looks like almost the antithesis of game number 1. I would say that they're in complete control so long as they don't throw away here in this moment. They have a lot of cooldowns to trade. They're just staying on target. They need to work their way through Fade. If they can prior to the combustion, they might just outright kill Vilaye. Let's see if they can set it up. No leg sweep for 30 seconds. Chaz is going to be the one that initiates crowd control. They grip Vilaye, but now a Ring of Peace bounces the entire team apart, popping that Storm, Earth, and Fire and Combustion. Greater Fade. Will it be enough? Vilaye's channeling out Shadow Men's, trying to recover. Holding strong for now, but Lontar still Polymorph, finally coming out, looking for a defensive Hex. Gets stunned on it. Vilaye could flop here. He's got options, but he is just going to not make the trade. Method EU crushing game number 2. Nice response.
I mean, Vilaye, he had the answers. I don't know if he was interrupted. He had Void Shift. He had Dispersion. You just got to make the trades. I mean, both teams making critical mistakes in game number 1, game number 2, but on the opposite side of things, both those teams going to be capitalizing on those mistakes and getting some quick wins. So, Method EU, they put a point back on the board. Really, really impressive damage that they were able to put out. A lot of pressure on Vilaye in the match. Doing a great job with that, but I still feel like this isn't too bad of a matchup for Reload Esports, but you definitely have to be on point. I mean, you can see right now in the replay, Vilaye, in terms of defensive cooldowns, he's looking all right. He's looking healthy. Lontar had to trade out his Trinket and Spirit Link. Method EU basically just relentlessly training down Vilaye in this matchup. It's difficult for him to live, especially if we're seeing cross crowd control on Merce. We saw some really clutch Ring of Peace from Whaazz as well, kind of separating and isolating a target. So you can see right now, denying the Master Spell, and then just massive pressure. Vilaye tries to get a little bit greedy there. You're looking for a Master Spell, he gets interrupted, and then I'm trying to see if he is Spearhand struck or interrupted whatsoever. Just a Hammer of Justice, Fist of Fury, and Vilaye gets taken down. So I don't know. If you look, Reload Esports in terms of mana, cooldowns, they're still looking good. Short games coming in this series, which is a bit unexpected, but you can see on the scoreboard, I mean, look at the pressure that Whaazz was able to put out.
Yeah, that is a big number right there with Whaazz, and it's cool to see these guys try out this composition and then do well on it here in game number 2. So these guys are now tied up. It's going to be Reload Esports map choice coming up next here. We've seen the same composition, so now I'm wondering what we're going to be seeing when we get this draft process going. Looks like they've locked in hook point as well. We can see these cameras. We can see the focus on these guys' face. They know how close these games have been going so far. And I don't know. Does it seem like, Zico, do you feel like this is just going to be a game 5 here, considering how these first 2 games went?
It very well might be. I think right now, Method EU, they have to make an interesting choice here. So number 1, we're on a small map, which takes away the Shadow Priest Mage here of Method EU a little bit, and it sets Reload Esports up for Ret Warrior here. They could bring in Mystic here. If Method EU locks in Windwalker Mage blind here, I think Reload Esports might actually lock in Ret Warrior here and just completely obliterate Whaazz on that Windwalker. So I'm not sure what comp Method EU will lock in here, but maybe Mage Warrior would be a better option here to blind lock. Oh, they're just going to go Shadow Priest Mage. They did the
exact opposite.
Yeah.
So they're assuming they can beat Warrior Shadow Priest on a small map with this. I mean, they could even... Yeah, I don't. They have to weigh the odds, right? Like, this is the odds they felt like they stood a better chance of beating Shadow Priest Warrior with Shadow Priest Mage on a small map than they would as Windwalker Mage into Ret Warrior.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
which I guess we're going
to into Ret Warrior is it's not a great matchup.
This is interesting.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well, go ahead.
No, I was just, I think this is just one of those things where Reload Esports are so happy they managed to pick up that first win, because they have, I would say, basically counter comp. So they have really good answers for everything that Method EU is able to run. If we see Method EU lock in Mage Warrior or Mage Windwalker as an example, then they can play Ret Warrior, and that's a great answer. If we see Method EU lock in the Shadow Priest Mage, then all of a sudden we're going to be seeing the Shadow Priest Warrior. So Reload Esports winning that game number 1 the way they did is going to be crucial for them in this series. And I don't know, Method EU, this is going to be a difficult matchup, but the thing about the Shadow Priest, Fire Mage Paladin, very explosive composition, lots of crowd control. I think you have a fair shot against basically everything, but in this particular matchup, Reload Esports, I would say, definitely has an edge.
All right, well, Reload Esports locking in an explosive composition on a map where historically we've had some very explosive matches here. Very excited to see what these guys can do here. Can they take this series? Can they beat Method EU? Is Method EU going to go home today with no wins on the board in the circuit so far? Time is running out for these guys. Let's see what they can do here.
Would have earned that honor.
All right, let's see here. Hook point, Shadow Priest Mage. For Shadow Priest Mage, usually all you have to do in this matchup is kind of just wait for survive until dampening and drag the warrior around, and eventually the warrior's not going to have a good target to hit on a large map and die. But on this map, the warrior's going to have a pillar nearby always. He's going to be able to go in and out as he wants to. And I think Shaz getting drinks here is going to be very, very crucial, because Shadow Priest Mage most likely are going to need a little bit of dampening here before they can actually take somebody down on Reload Esports. And I think Shaz is going to for sure have to drink to get to that point, just because Merce is always going to have uptime. Ooh, he's actually in a lot of trouble right now. Trinket's out. He's not even, he just actually doesn't even care about that Earthen Wall Totem. That Vilaye is standing here right now. Mercy just Trinkets out of the stun, stays aggressive, trades out, he's died by the sword. So very early trade there from Mercy, and that's going to be a nice little point on the board there for Method EU so far.
Yeah, developing quite a bit of pressure on Zunniyaki. Chaz going for the Avenging Wrath, but his mana is already down almost a third, not even a minute into the game. And mana is the name of the game for Reload Esports strategy, so that blue bar on Chaz's frame, when that hits 0, that's going to be when Reload Esports have hit their win condition, and they're getting there rapidly at the moment. They've got a lot of pressure on Zunniyaki. Chaz stunned up, big setup by Reload Esports, 3 versus 1. Chaz anticipates it. using the Blessing of Sacrifice, anticipating the damage. However, this cooldown does not trade for any on the opposing side of Reload Esports. They still have Power Infusion and Silence available. Nice fear on Whaazz. They're setting up for the win on Zunniyaki. Insane pressure right now from Reload Esports in game number 3. Can they keep the momentum and get a dispersion? Doesn't look like it. Divine Toll from Whaazz, restabilizing the team here. Zunniyaki trying to get in position to counter-engage with a stun into Polymorph, Silence, stun combo, and Merce. Lontar slips a Spirit Link Totem in between the crowd control chain here, restabilizing his entire team, although they don't look very comfortable. Lontar pulling Merce back to full health here and trying to go for a Hex, it would look like, onto the Mage. Merce just staying on Zunniyaki. Whaazz repositioning closer to Lontar, potentially looking for him or Justice or a drink off to the side, but he needs to heal. He's stunned on his Divine Favor. Big mind games play by Vilaye, netting the dispersion from Zunniyaki. Back and forth between these Titans in the first round of the day.
Yeah, very explosive matchup so far. Lontar doing a great job with that Spirit Link Totem. Still has his trinket, so he can protect Merce during that next exchange. Look at Whazz's mana already down to 50%. A lot of pressure coming in from Vilaye and Merce in this particular matchup. Pantera Racial coming in from Vilaye. Good setup here on Zunniyaki. And they take him down. He's getting really low. The Fate comes in. Merce's all over him. Doesn't want to get too low. Merce's actually just going to retreat over to Lontar, making sure that they have control of the match. Things are looking good so far. Beautiful mind control from Vilaye, bringing Zunniyaki right to the hands of Merce to continue to just get pummeled in this matchup. About 3 minutes in, another combustion comes in from Thesia. Looks like Vilaye will just trade out the dispersion. A fair trade from him. Happy to make that exchange. Vilaye looking for a Mass Dispel potentially here on this incoming Polymorph. Could be in some trouble, but they're just going for it. Another setup coming in from Reload Esports. Immediate interrupt there by Thesia, potentially just completely shutting down this chain. That was a really nice counter spell. Vilaye not able to get the crowd control, and Method EU hold on.
Ooh, Lontar with a nice Hex there onto Thesia as well. He's going to allow Merce here to just stay in battle stance, get a lot of pressure here onto Zunniyaki, which of course is going to tax Whazz's mana. Whazz's mana right now not doing super hot. I would give him another maybe 2 minutes in this game before he's going to run out of mana. Lontar getting Dragon's Breath Sheep. Oh, Merce so close with that Overwatch Reflect right there. But he doesn't seem to be in too much trouble here. He actually does get the Stormbolt onto Zunniyaki, which is Zunniyaki trinkets. Nice. Offensive and defensive fear right there. So he's going to turn the pressure around. Whaazz going to trade out the Hand of Sacrifice for that intimidating shout there by Merce. And look at the damage Whaazz is taking. He's going to have to heal himself up because Vilaye is dotting him up now. Here comes a big swap there from the Shadow Priest. And this is something that we've seen from a lot of Shadow Priests here. We saw it from Prophecy as well, just developing solo momentum on a lot of these healers. But there's a big combustion there by Thesia. But Vilaye, 10 seconds left on his dispersion. He's just going to duck around the corner and then come back out after he gets a couple of heals. Merce trades out his trinket and die by the sword. In that exchange, Zunniyaki now trading out his dispersion here as well. This game is not even hitting dampening yet, and it's already kind of reaching its end points here.
Yeah, this game could pivot on Thesia for Method EU. These combustion timings are everything, but at the moment it's still quite far away, and Zunniyaki is getting destroyed. Whaazz tries to go for a big heal, connecting that onto Zunniyaki. Merce anticipating himself as the target here, jumping into defensive stance and getting ready to take a big hit. Combustion coming up very soon if Thesia can get a couple more fireballs. Zunniyaki's in Void form. Method EU are trying to counter assault, but they get re-engaged on. Huge setup by Reload Esports, trying to push for the win. Whaazz trinkets out of crowd control. Do they have enough damage to close the game out here onto Zunniyaki and move to match point? Devastating for Method EU this early on in the circuit. They're dire. They've got no mana remaining. They need to turn it around. This combustion comes up in 2 seconds with power infusion. They basically need to win the game with it. Merce leaping over to Whaazz, denying the drink, but overextends now with no trinket to get out of the stun lock. Trying to charge back onto Zunniyaki while Lontar is still silenced. Vilaye goes into Void form, actually, trying to counter pressure. Lontar is just going to use Spirit Link, but Whaazz is drinking. Earth Grab grabs him around the corner. Vilaye now the target, trying to recover with that Vampiric Embrace. Really good cooldown management from Reload Esports. Whaazz actually Divine Shielding out of the crowd control. Reload Esports have gotten pretty much everything from Method EU at this point. They just need to keep trucking out damage.
Yeah, they're doing a great job. Method EU right now, they're in desperation. Whaazz throwing out the last little bit of his mana, but he gets crowd controlled on the heal. Zunniyaki getting incredibly low, forced into the dispersion. That last line of defense, 5% dampening. Things are unraveling here for Method EU. The pressure is unrelenting from Reload Esports. They're continuing to just train down Zunniyaki. Any more crowd control on Whaazz could just be the end of the game. He really has no defensive options. He's going to have to pre-sacrifice. No mana to really recover from that. Thesia is going to have to do a really good job here setting up some sort of crowd control chain. Chaz going for Drake. Merce leaps over to shut it down. He manages to, but recovering about 10% of his mana. I mean, Lontar, his mana is not in a great position as well, so Method EU, if they can just hold on a little bit longer, they might be able to come back in this matchup.
Yeah, and Lontar called in the Earth Elemental right now, so we're going to expect to see that pet there actually target Chaz at some point, and that's going to stop him from drinking. Very annoying to deal with. You see a little bit of a... Actually, Chaz just sitting down for a drink right now. Nobody's stopping it. Nice polymorph there by Thesia. Lontar, what is this pet management? What? All right, well, it's going to keep hitting Thesia here, so... Chaz is able to recover quite a bit of mana here, and this is very, very crucial for Method EU. They've been on the back foot for a long period of time here, but right now there's a glimmer of hope with Chaz getting that tiny bit of a drink right there. If they can set something like that up again, they could actually, if they get another CC chain onto Lontar, they could kill Merce here. They might actually be setting up for it. There's a silence, there's combustion, there's the war banner, they kill it, and they get something more onto Lontar. There's the disarm. If they get the polymorph here or the fear, Void Shift comes out from Vilaye, they're swapping to Vilaye into the dispersion here. They don't get the polymorph onto Lontar though, and it looks like that is going to be betrayed right there. They had no trinket on Merce, no trinket onto Lontar, and combustion available, so really big moment there for Method EU, but now they're on the back foot here, Sid, and it's not looking good for Zilly.
It's a very important game for Method EU. If they can take the swing match away, they'll have the advantage moving into game number 5. They really need this win on the side of Method EU. They've been battling long and hard. They've recovered a bit of mana, at least even now with Lontar as dampening continues to stack high. However, these hexes are starting to take their toll. Thesia's been removed from the game for some time. Chaz anticipating crowd control, trades that sacrifice, redirecting damage before the Quaking Palm. Nice play by Chaz. He's running away to drink. If he can manage to regenerate mana, surely that will lock in the game for his team, but Merce leaps across midfield, stopping the drink for now and trying to stay on Zunniyaki at the same time, which is the real challenge if this matchup is stopping the drink and still having pressure. Vilaye going for mind games, Chaz dispelling it, but eating a vampiric touch, Horrify, and Merce is still on target here, trucking down Zunniyaki. He's got Greater Fade, landing a double fear while Chaz gets stunned up. They're pushing for the win here. If Zunniyaki gets interrupted, it could be lights out. He's going to Greater Fade and not take any risk. Stormbolt over onto Thesia, just trying to slow down the crowd control into a Hex. A lot of crowd control into Thesia, realizing that he's really the power player of the team. Taking the mage out is very important. However, now Thesia is free, combustion available. This could be enough to really get a kill if they can lock Vilaye out. No counterspell for some time. The pressure is in favor of Reload Esports. They're pushing down Zunniyaki. Zunniyaki tries to turn it around. Merce makes a trade. Die by the sword and a big recovery by Lontar. Now Zunniyaki is in trouble. Chaz is caught into a full fear at the moment, trying to get out of crowd control, but doesn't have a lot of healing throughput. Zunniyaki's going to have to trade out Dispersion just to stay in the fight, and despite all those drinks from Chaz, his mana's tapped out once again. Warbreaker comes in. Merce is going to be doing a lot of damage. If they can get Merce into battle stance here, I think it's game over. I would almost rather they just trade a Spirit Link, go battle stance, and close it out. Lava Bursts are flying in. They're pushing for it. They're 1% away from the kill. Greater Fade fades.
Execute.
Will he survive? Powered Shields and Shadow Men's. They're desperate. They're throwing everything to stay in it, but it's not enough. Reload Esports will crush them outright and move to match point.
Wow, what a crazy game that was. I mean, Method EU, to their credit, they managed to hold on in that matchup for quite a long time. The drinks from Chaz really critical, but at the end of it all, Reload Esports, that small map with this composition, they had the edge, and they managed to obtain that victory. And this is just such a crazy series. I mean, what's on the line for Method EU? They're 0-2 right now so far in the round robin. This could be 0-3 if they can't battle it back, and this is going to be an uphill battle for them, Zico.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, and this was a really important game as well. If Method EU wins this, they would have that double advantage moving forward. But I really like what Reload did here. Lontar just traded out the Ascendance, topped off Merce from that attack, and then they just went go. Lontar even throwing in a couple of purges here. He was casting a Lightning Bolt at the start of the replay, and here's Zunniyaki gets the Hero Fade. He goes for the Shadow Man, and he's not able to get it off in time. He's trying to fake cast Merce's Pummel there, but Merce holding onto it for a very long time there, and just not able to get it off. Chaz is completely tapped on mana. There's just nothing left in the tank there for Method, and that's I mean, at this point it's kind of it's just Reload running away with their already built-up advantage. So there's nothing fancy really going on there, but Reload, to get to this point, had to play very well. They had to always trade effectively, and there was that one point where they almost lost, but Vilaye came in as well with the Void Shift there and was able to save the day. So just a really good game defensively there from Reload.
Yeah, looking really solid in the series right now. They're on match point. This is a best of 5 series, so the first of 3 wins the series, and they are very, very close right now. Only 1 win away basically, and they were able to do it just now, and they just need to do it one more time. So I wonder what Method EU is thinking right now. I mean, this cannot be a good situation for them. They are, like I said last time, and like I'm going to say right now, very much running out of time, and they're wasting chances to try and gain points here in the Circuit Series. They don't have any just yet, and right now it's like kind of the proving grounds. I mean, this is cup number 2 here, and there's only 4 of these, and they are very quickly wasting these moments to try and get points on the board here for the circuit. So right now, then I can't imagine what's going through their head. They've got to be feeling a little bit down right now.
Yeah, if they are, they need to shake it off because it's time to focus up. I mean, they have 1 lifeline left. I expect we go to a big map, and they're going to try to bait that same matchup we saw on the Grand and then on Ashamane's Fall. And if that's the matchup they want to try to set up, I don't even think it's a good matchup, but I still feel like Reload Esports is a very fair shot, and Method is going to really have to step up if they want to walk away with this one. We are going to Tolvaron Arena, one of the largest maps in the pool, and of course, it's going to be Whaazz tagged back in on that Windwalker Monk. And then on Ashamane's, we kind of saw the devastation he was able to put out. It's a lot of pressure, but on the back of all that pressure is also a really vulnerable target. So in terms of defense, Method EU, they're going to have to be on point.
This really tells me something interesting here. Method EU don't want to play Shadow Priest Mage into Reload Esports. Even on the best map in the game, this is a matchup that they don't want. So Method EU, sadly for them, they had the right read on the Reload. Reload wanted to avoid the Shadow Priest Mage. Method EU figured that out, and they brought in their Mage Windwalker to counter the Shadow Priest Warrior. But in the end, because of how that game played out, Reload Esports, they just have the advantage now. Like, even if Method, like Ven already kind of mentioned, this is, I would say Method EU are favored in this matchup, but I would say Reload Esports still have a pretty high chance of winning. They could just get big random warrior damage again, or they could win on mana or whatever, right? There's a lot of ways they can kill that Windwalker. And I mean, if that happens, the series is just over and Method are 0-3. But even if Method wins, Reload Esports, well, they could just bring us to Blackrock Hold or Dalaran or any small map and then bait that same matchup again. So either way, they're going to have to play Shadow Priest Mage into Shadow Priest Warrior, most likely. Or they're going to have to play Mage Windwalker into Ret Warrior, which is probably the worst option.
2 bad options.
Yeah, they're in a tough spot.
They certainly are in a tough spot here, so let's see what they can do heading into this next game. It sounds like one of the teams used their delay. I'm not sure who that was, but clearly they're thinking this one before we head into this next game. But Method EU, with this composition, they were able to win on Ashmane, so maybe they can repeat it here on Tolvaron. Quite a bit much more space to sort of maneuver around here, so maybe they tie it up here, or maybe Reload Esports takes this one 3-1. But if they do that, if Reload Esports does that, Subatiz, I mean, this just spells great things for this team going into the rest of the circuit.
I mean, great things overall. I think it's their first win, although they've only played 2 series, I believe. So, I mean, yeah, beating Method EU is a great way to start the circuit. I feel like this is a team that you would have expected not to lose to anyone. But overall, I feel like they've still got a lot more to prove. But this is easily now a top 4 contender, especially because of Merce on the Warrior. It feels like they were kind of training a lot throughout the year, getting Merce off of the Warlock and more onto the Warrior, and now it's paying off. Whereas in the past on Hook Point, like that moment where we saw Merce get really low, I feel like in the past he probably would have died. So now as a team, they've figured out those moments where he was getting overwhelmed, and they're protecting him from those moments. And now they're beating Method EU as a result. And Method EU are the team that's forced to adapt, it would seem. Of course, there was a patch change too. I think that's pretty significant when it comes to mana for Holy Paladins, because in that game, if Chaz even had I think the difference was maybe 1% more mana on one of their spells. So even if Chaz had just that, they might have been able to win that game. So with the patch change and with Reload Esports practicing this composition a lot more, they are a real threat. And Method EU are kind of struggling, it looks like. But at the same time, 2 of these wins for both sides were just kind of like, oh, the other team messed up big time. Like, I had every cooldown, didn't press it. It mattered more for Whazz's team because it was on the blind pick, whereas Vilaye not dispersing on their not map pick is like, I mean, it's bad because you just would like the series to be over for your team, but it's not the end of the world because you've still got game 5. Yeah, but not trading on blind pick could lose you the whole series. So they've both made the same mistake. It's just that Vilaye making it in that position in the series doesn't put his team at much of a disadvantage as it put Method EU overall, because now Method EU could still lose here. I think Paladin mana is a problem. That's why they picked this map, is so that Chaz would be able to get mana, anticipating this to be a longer game, assuming the teams make their trades. But it's also interesting that these are 2 teams that I wouldn't actually expect those types of mistakes. I would almost expect every game going to 40% dampening with perfect trades the whole way through. So they're showing a little bit of kind of signs of stress maybe in the circuit overall. Maybe they're just warming up. It was the first game of the day.
Been watching like Whazz's camera during this, like he definitely looks stressed. Like I'm trying to remember what he normally looks like when he's in these games. Like I don't know if that's like abnormal or not for his usual facial expressions, Then.
Well, I mean, what's not to be stressed about, really? You're a team that people expect to basically just beat everyone, and right now they haven't picked up a win so far in the round robin. I mean, basically, if they lose this series, they have to win out, I would imagine. I don't think they can lose to a single other team, and that puts a lot of pressure on you, especially when you're used to kind of just getting first or second every single time you play. So for Method EU, they're going to have to really step up here with their backs against the wall. If any team could do it, it's probably them. So we'll see how they play this one out. Reload Esports looking really good. And honestly, I feel like the composition that they're running right now is a really underrated composition. I feel like Warrior, Shadow Priest, Shaman is really well-rounded. Lots of pressure, lots of defense. And Reload Esports, they play it as well as anyone, if not, they're the best at it. They're really the only team that have been running it. So we'll see how they play this one out. Whaazz, of course, going to be putting out a ton of damage on that Windwalker Monk, just like we saw on Ashamane's. And Reload Esports, they're going to have to do a really good job rotating through the defensive cooldowns, just kind of holding on, because I think this is another one of those matchups where as long as Reload Esports just survive and put out damage onto Whaazz, eventually Chaz will likely go out of mana. But yeah, if you make any mistakes, you are going to get punished heavily as Reload Esports. Match point right now. Do you imagine a world where Method EU is down 0-3 in the circuit? Reload Esports could be the team to do it.
Yeah, absolutely here. And hopefully for Method, they have all of their keybinds and everything, because last weekend when we saw them play here on Tolvir, they had to set up a little bit during the game. So maybe that's what the... yeah, true. It was Zuni, and he's on the bench, so... Yeah, so we're good. We're good. But yeah, we'll see. We'll see. It looks like everybody has their binds right now, so that's good. Thesia's going to start off the game here with a polymorph. Vilaye going for the master spell, gets interrupted. Thesia looking for the Ring of Frost onto Mercy, but he Blade Storms, gets in position to offensively fear here, maybe to line of sight a little bit here, realizing he could be a target, but it's mostly going to be on Vilaye. Lontar actually getting knocked into a leg sweep here. What a beautiful setup here by Whaazz. Vilaye is actually going to trinket out of that one, and that's really all they got with that initial pressure. They used combustion here as well. They didn't even get dispersion. They didn't get any of the big objectives here, and a lot of that is thanks to Lontar pre-placing that Earthen Wall totem. It's just paid its weight in literal gold here. The only thing they've used so far is just Vilaye's trinket. So there's going to be a lot of cooldowns remaining here for Reload Esports, and they're going to have the momentum moving forward right now. They're actually going after Thesia here. Big fear by Mercy. It's going to fear the Tiger of Whaazz there as well. So this is a kind of another defensive play here, but the Tiger is out of the CC now, and it's all over Vilaye, and here comes the blinding setup.
Oh,
that was a
Swen
disaster.
ended up breaking it. That could have been big cooldowns for the side of Method EU towards Reload Esports, but that Zwen the Tiger, while it does a lot of damage, it also AoEs, which will break a lot of crowd control, breaking the blinding light of Whaazz. But Lontar's now in a polymorph. Method EU have solid offense here. They really haven't been threatened or pushed back just yet. Vilaye hovering at 50%, trying to counter-engage with a Stormbolt, but not able to find the Void Eruption as we see an Intervene come in from Merce, redirecting some damage to Merce, while Lontar's in that Hammer of Justice. But now Merce in the polymorph. Intervene has subsided. Whaazz is getting ready. We see a Blade Storm from Merce that was anticipating a leg sweep. Merce's been trying to pre-Blade Storm leg sweep every time that it's available, and whenever he's standing next to Vilaye, Whaazz has not fallen for the Blade Storm bait, trying to get maximum value. Is he going to use that Ring of Peace and knock Lontar in for a triple here? No, just going for the double. Safe play, paralyze on Lontar. Thesia comes out of Stormbolt, popping Combustion, going right straight for the throat. Vilaye immediately reacts, though, with Dispersion. Merce leaps in to stop the drink of Whaazz. And that's really where all of my eyes are set in terms of the win condition for Reload Esports is, can they stop Whaazz from drinking while also putting out pressure and while also still trading cooldowns and not throwing the game? If they can accomplish that, those two things, I think that they'll actually win this. So my eyes are always on Whaazz. Has he slipped away from the fight? Is he drinking? What is Reload Esports doing about it?
Yeah, and they're going to have to make sure they shut that down. Earthen Wall Totem will drop down. Whaazz going to be a little bit vulnerable here. Here comes a Mind Games. They're actually going after Thesia, and that is a sacrifice from Whaazz. Beautiful swap there from Reload Esports, mixing it up and keeping Method EU guessing just a little bit. You can see Whaazz pressure down from that ultimate sacrifice. Vilaye right now has a little bit of time left on some of his major defensive cooldowns. He has the Trinket. I really like the Trinket as a response. If Whaazz is looking to get aggressive and Thesia is there as well, you can just Trinket out of the leg sweep, go for a double Psychic Scream, and that is going to allow you to shut down a lot of that offense. Whaazz getting swapped to behind the pillar, but Merce in a Ring of Frost. Good control from Thesia. Once again, Merce going to be leaping across the map and shutting down the drinking of Whaazz. I really feel like sometimes in these situations, instead of worrying about the drinks from Whaazz, they should just throw Stormbolts on Whaazz and get all those defensive cooldowns, forcing Whaazz to come back. Reload Esports, they really are focused on shutting down that drink, but at the same time, those are opportunities where Whaazz is basically just crowd controlling himself, and that's when they could get a lot of cooldowns, because I feel like they're going to be able to maintain this mana lead for a long time as long as they keep their pressure up. Vilaye under fire, gets interrupted. Hammer of Justice on Lontar. Big setup here by Method EU as they continue to just try to train down Vilaye. The Earthen Wall Totem denies most of the damage, the Greater Fade as well. Reload Esports looking very durable in this matchup so far.
Yeah, Vilaye is definitely spacing his cooldowns very well. He's never using his Trinket and his Dispersion in the same setup. It's always Trinket into a Fear or a Fade or a Disarm, and then he uses his Dispersion later on. So definitely good defensive management from him. Lontar still hasn't had to use his Trinket. Right now there's a decent amount of pressure onto Whaazz from Merce. Vilaye still also taking a decent amount of damage. And we can see Whaazz here looking for the drink. As soon as they initiate crowd control, Whaazz is always going to sneak away and try to get a drink here. And now this is the situation Rico was talking about. Are they going to stop the drink? Are they going to get pressure? Look at Merce with the hero play that reflects the polymorph that was supposed to stop him from stopping Whaazz's drink. And then he leaps across and does stop the drink. I do believe Whaazz actually was able to get a little bit of a tick there though, but it looks like he's going to have to spend some of that mana that he just got because Whaazz once again taking some damage. Lontar is about to get trapped here. Full Ring of Frost there onto Lontar. Full leg sweep of the Vilaye, and that is going to be the Dispersion there of Vilaye. Traded for the Combustion of Thesia, so not bad. And what did you say?
You say not bad, but Merce actually traded Intervene and Die by the Sword as well, and they almost killed Vilaye. Now they're turning it around. They're cutting through Karma, trying to just absolutely crack Whaazz here. And if Reload Esports win this, that's it. They're going to take the series. Method EU will be down 0-3 in the circuit overall, having lost 3 of their series so far, which would be devastating for this team overall. A dominant force throughout AWC's history in Europe, in the European region. Reload Esports looks to shatter that dynasty. They're only 1 win away from doing it. So far, they've managed their defensive cooldowns very effectively. They've done a good job of stopping Whaazz from drinking as well, maintaining their mana advantage. And if they keep this up, I do really think that they're going to be able to take this game. Whaazz is in the back line trying to heal Whaazz, but Whaazz line of sights him for a moment. He's taking quite a lot of damage. Lontar is not afraid to lob out Lava Bursts and Purges. Whaazz gets stunned up. Merce's in pursuit. Door of Shadows to reconnect. Whaazz rolling back away, trying to get back onto target here with Thesia, but having a tough time. Merce is just condemning away, and Merce's maxing out his damage. He's always tab targeting if someone is out of condemn range to another target that's above 80% to maximize his damage. Here I like the spread by Method EU. Don't stack up against the Shadow Priest Warrior while Whaazz tries to drink. Whaazz got a couple of sips. Now he's running across the map. looks like he's gonna have to play with that much mana. He's not comfortable. Whaazz is taking a ton of damage.
Ooh.
Is he gonna have to trade? He wants to get aggressive. He's got Zwen, Storm, Earth, and Fire coming up very soon. He could power for the kill. Vilaye gonna Greater Fade. It may not be enough. He's fishing for Mass Dispel, not finding it. Trying to get some Shadow Mends. Earthen Wall Totem is down, protecting from the Storm, Earth, and Fire. They're baiting Dispersion. If they get Dispersion without Zwen, that's gonna be devastating. Dragon's Breath onto Lontar. An interrupt onto Vilaye. Exactly what Method EU needed, but Whaazz isn't on target. The Earthen Wall is getting too much value. They're gonna Storm Bolt up Thesia, but a triple leg sweep. Nice play by Whaazz. Whaazz is really owning right now, trying to push for the win. Lontar drops the Spirit Link Totem. There's not a lot of healing to recover from the redirected damage, though. Lontar's entire team just getting devastated by this Zwen of Whaazz, trying to recover, but they might pull even more from Vilaye in this position. Chaz is trying to escape the chaos and drink. Lontar moves over and snipes him with a totem around the corner. Now Whaazz falls behind. Chaz didn't get mana. Vilaye has recovered. Merce's back to full health. Reload Esports are in a good position.
Yeah, not looking too bad right now. Polymorph on Lontar. Chaz tried to get a drink there, but the pressure on Whaazz was too much. Stormbolt now. Big damage as they continue to make a push, and Whaazz has just had to run away so much in this matchup. Yeah, he's doing a really good job when his cooldowns are up, but outside of those cooldown windows, their overall pressure has been a little bit low in this match, but that's kind of the thing with the Windwalker Monk. You're just not that durable to a warrior just training you down in a matchup like this. You can see the pressure onto Thesia, onto Whaazz. This could be the touch of karma if they're not careful. Paralyzed onto Lontar. They're continuing the pressure. Blinding Light comes in as well. But it looks like Vilaye should be able to hold on. He's just going to trade out the Dispersion on the Combustion. That is more than a fair trade. Keeping himself alive. Whaazz still just pressuring him, chasing him behind the pillar. Now finds himself in a full Stormbolt as Merce trying to pressure and force him back. If you look, Method EU in terms of mana, they are way behind, but they're doing a good job making sure Vilaye is not feeling too comfortable so far in the match. They get the Dispersion, and they force Reload Esports back to a very defensive position. If you look at Chaz, there is an opportunity for him to run away. The double leg sweep comes in. Big damage from Whaazz once again. That's going to be a trinket from Merce with an intervene, but a beautiful Ring of Peace denies that intervene. Very nicely done there by Whaazz. Merce shuts that down with the Door Shadow and just continuously and unrelenting trains down Whaazz, especially with Chaz going to go for a drink.
Ooh, Chaz actually gets a decent amount of mana there, but this is what we were talking about a little bit earlier. And when Chaz sneaks away for a drink, if you can't stop it, you just got to get as much pressure as possible here. And they are able to get the Diffuse Magic of Whaazz, which is pretty much the biggest cooldown that he has. Touch of Karma not really going to be that useful. Vilaye actually did a lot of damage here. Needs to be careful. Activates the Vampiric Embrace here. Lontar doesn't have a Spirit Link. They do have the Void Shift as well as that Trinket. You always want to try to have those two available together, so you can Trinket out of a stun or something if you don't have Dispersion and go for it. Oh, Merce though. Here comes the damage. Big damage onto Whaazz. He's got the Sharpened Blade active on him as well. Trades out the Touch of Karma. And Chaz as well is going to have to Trinket there, trade out his wings maybe in that exchange. But Vilaye actually forced to use the Void Shift. Merce has no cooldowns to get swapped to. Actually activates the Die by the Sword, but he can't trade anything for the Combustion. Lontar has to Trinket as well. Chaz now drinking, and Vilaye now forced into the Dispersion with Chaz drinking.
Whaazz has nothing though.
Merce using everything. With Lontar in another sheep here, Dragon's Breath. There's the leg sweep. Do they have anything more for Lontar? It doesn't look like it. But what an amazing push there from Method. Vilaye is also still in big trouble. There's the Hammer of Justice onto Lontar. Counterspell comes out onto Vilaye. The last time there gets a full HP there from the Spirit Link. And Lontar now going for the Hex out of the Fear onto Thesia. Ice blocks out of it immediately. Looking for the final Polymorph here. If he gets that onto Lontar, it's going to pretty much be game over here. But Whaazz also needs to be careful. Has pretty much no defensives as well.
Okay, let's see. Can Method EU close this out here? They're at the finish line. They forced every single cooldown, but Whaazz is low. Chaz Divine Shields to make sure he can connect heals on Whaazz and keep him aggressive. I like this cooldown usage by Chaz. His team is in a checkmate position, but the pre-Earthen Wall totem. Nice Earthen Wall. Doesn't matter. They're killing him through it. Intervene comes in from Merce with a Fear onto the Mage. Denied all damage. Shadow Mends from Vilaye. Buy time. Wincher on the repoly. Good defensive plays from Reload Esports. Can they heal through the damage is now the question. Another Polymorph slips through. Vilaye's on the run. He's got no cooldowns left. Whaazz knocks him back into line of sight. Quaking Ball comes out onto Whaazz. Vilaye tries to stall, but there's no counter pressure. They Stormbolt Whaazz. They need to kill Whaazz here. Mind Games come through. Whaazz diffusing that back onto Vilaye. Vilaye moving over, trying to dot up Chaz as well. Maybe just kill the Paladin at this point. No mana, no Divine Shield, but they're still too far behind. Method EU are in checkmate. 10% remaining health. How on earth is Vilaye still alive? Silence and Desperation onto the Mage. Dispelled instantly. Dispersion comes off cooldown. He's going to press that as soon as it comes up, basically, to just stay alive in the game. Lontar has mana, but he can't even spend it to heal through the pressure. pressure. Whaazz is tearing in. That's Zwen. That's it. There's nothing for this. They intervene. The Earthen. Is it really going to be enough? Whaazz connects. Hammer of Wrath comes in from downtown. And Method EU on match point with nothing left. Take it to game 5.
Wow. I mean, that game really felt like they did a great job, but Method EU, their unrelenting pressure as dampening went higher and higher, it was really difficult for Lontar to actually keep up with that pressure. And at some point, they kind of just fell apart. Vilaye and Merce were just on the defense way too much. And unfortunately for them, Method EU will come back. And now we have a tied series on our hand. But because Reload Esports won that game number 1, they're going to be looking really, really good with the comp and map advantage going into game number 5. But we can take a quick look at what exactly happened.
Yeah, so I mean, there was just that moment where they're able to force every cooldown that Reload has, which was pretty much the setup right before this one, where they got Mercy's trinket and they got Lontar's trinket and they got pretty much everything. And at this point, Reload, they're just trying to survive. They have a lot of mana, but Lontar needs to cast to actually spend it. Before dampening, Shamans can kind of get away without having to cast a lot, but at this point, he has to cast, and Thesia's sitting there with his counterspell ready. If Lontar opens his spell tree, well, he's gonna, get counterspelled. If he doesn't, well, he's just gonna not have enough healing to keep Vilaye up there, and that's because they're able to, survive to 40% dampening and force so many cooldowns overlapped together with that previous setup. So they're able to do that. They're able to get that big drink for Chaz as well, and they're able to take us to a game number 5 here.
Okay, Method EU, like Zico said, here we go, game number 5. It's been back and forth between these two teams. Very, very even series so far, especially if we look at how that last game just went. We've only got one game left here in this series, 2-2 right now, so we are so close to seeing who's going to come out on top here with this series. We're going to get that draft process started very, very shortly, but like Sid kind of already mentioned a little bit, it's going to be Reload Esports that is going to have that advantage heading into that draft process. And Subatiz, do we feel like, given that and given how the first 4 games went, is Reload Esports going to take this?
I don't think it's a guarantee. I don't. Even if it ends up being Shadow Priest Mage again on a smaller map, it really depends on which one, because Hook Point is the best map to stop drinks, and really I'm trying to think if there's another map where I feel like if they go Dalaran, it's still possible to stop or to actually get a drink. Hook Point is really the only map that's basically impossible to stop it. But on Dalaran, which now they've locked in, when I'm looking at it, they've locked it in. They're going to be able to sneak away onto the bottom and be able to drink very far away out of multiple points of line of sight. This is a really hard map pick in my mind. So if I was Method EU, I feel like I would still go Shadow Priest Mage, and I would just try to set up drinks more deeper into dampening, because if they don't and they go Windwalker Mage, I think it's almost certain that we're going to see Ret Warrior come out of Reload Esports. And I'm actually a bit worried that they're going to maybe experiment with Necrolord Warrior and run the War Banner and get 500 Mastery and just pump out a giant Divine Toll and KO Whaazz if he locks in Windwalker here. That Ret Warrior is a really big threat. So this is what Method EU are thinking about right now, is comp options. So they do Windwalker Mage. Are they ready for Ret Warrior? Or do they do Shadow Priest Mage and try and beat the Shadow Priest Warrior that they lost to on Hook Point on a better map in my mind for them, because it's a bit bigger and there are places to sneak away and drink. But this is game 5. Everything comes down to it, and that's what they're weighing their odds on. And if they make the wrong choice or they're not fully prepared for it, they're going to be down 0-3 in the circuit.
Yeah, definitely wouldn't be a good place for these guys to end up here on the side of Method EU. Vilaye even looking a little bit stressed as well. You can see the concentration in their faces right now.
Whoa, where did this come from?
Locking in their composition. Talk to me, Sid.
What? Are they going to do one dance? Are they going to do... I feel like... Okay, when in doubt, Rogue Mage Priest out, I guess. Like, this is... this is just a wild card comp that they're really good at, and this is a comp that can beat anything. If you get the perfect setup, you can beat anything. And Reload Esports are probably sitting there thinking, like, there's no way, right? They're going to pick Shadow Priest Mage, or they're going to pick Windwalker Mage, and they might not even have been ready for this. This is very interesting for Method EU, and I actually kind of like it. It's a bit cheeky. It might not work out, but they're really taking a big risk with it.
I was going to say, my favorite thing about them locking in that composition is as soon as it was finalized,
Yeah.
on screen, Whaazz is like, okay, well, I'm going to go, you know.
He's gonna go take a breather.
Yeah, this is a dicey matchup. I mean, the Rogue Mage Priest I mean, they play it better than almost anyone. So they definitely could make it work. But I feel like Reload Esports, they have a lot of different answers for this. The Shadow Priest Warrior Shaman, I think, is a solid answer. They could go with the Rep Warrior Shaman as well. And those are kind of the main two compositions you have as Reload Esports. So I feel like although this is kind of like an unexpected answer from Method, Reload Esports, if they just like they calm down and they kind of focus up, I feel like they have a really good shot in this one.
Zico, you were shaking your head.
Yeah, I think Red Warrior is gonna be a mistake if they lock that in. I think they just
Don't
go
do Red
Shadow
Warrior.
Yeah, just do Shadow Priest Warrior, and you have a nice solid win condition. Don't up Chaz, swap the Chaz whenever you want to. Try to tax his mana. That's it, and live.
Yeah.
Press Intervene, plus Mass Reflect, plus the other Mass Reflect. Rotate the Dispersion and the Trinket and everything that Vilaye's been doing such a good job with. That's it. Yep, there it is. Yeah, I think it Reload. So for them, if they survive like let's say 4.5 minutes, they win the game. Method EU, they need to kill Vilaye or Mercy or maybe Lontar in a swap before that happens. If they can't do that, they lose, and they're 0-3.
Okay. All right.
There it
Okay,
is.
3. There it is. Reload Esports 3. What'd you say? I wanna look at the timer when you're saying that. 3.5 minutes.
4.5.
4 minutes and 41 seconds.
4 minutes and 41 seconds.
Forced every single CD in the whole spellbook or won the game by then, they're gonna lose.
Can I make a prediction?
Yeah.
It's gonna be.
Do whatever you want.
I think I gotta close my eyes to kind of picture the game playing out. I'm picturing Mercy dying in Shadowy Duel at 1 minute 32 seconds.
1 minute 32 seconds. Okay.
Yeah.
I can see it.
All right. Well, I guess
could see it.
we gotta get a really super overly specific prediction from Ben then too. You can close
come
your eyes
on.
if you want to visualize it.
Not any two. 3 minutes and 47 seconds. We are going to see Thesia go down. I think Chaz will be out of mana at under 4 minutes, and Thesia will go down. That's my prediction.
Okay. All right. What is this
Interesting.
fun fact?
Can someone write all these predictions down so that
I'm
we
writing
can
it
see
down.
who's right?
I've got 132, 347, and then what did you say? 441, Zico?
No, I didn't. I didn't give a prediction on the result. I just said.
Which target
predictions.
dies?
That's
Well,
that's like some.
no.
I'm not happy with that one.
Why? Okay, you
That's
want
like-
me to give a real prediction?
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's like saying,
Okay. Well, I'm just talking about how the comps play. If you want my specific prediction, 1 second. Let me get my vision. Oh, bad news for Vilaye. Yeah,
You think-
I saw something real
Wait,
bad.
so you both think
At
that
2
Method has a
minutes, at 2 minutes and 32 seconds, I saw Vilaye getting destroyed in a shadowy duel. That's
really?
that's-
You both
yeah.
think? Okay.
It's not what I think. I just get visions and I tell you what they mean.
Yeah. He just reads the cards. Yeah, he's just the
Exactly.
messenger
Yeah.
of the cards. Yeah.
Whoever is
I'm
right
just a
on this
leaky faucet.
prediction needs to transition into a career path to be a fortune teller. Just
You're gonna get some DMs on Twitter like, do you do readings? How much are you?
Look,
I can tell you any future.
Yeah. All right. Well, we're gonna see how close these guys in their prediction coming up next. We've also got this fact. I'm gonna read it because we've been too involved in the predictions here. But I guess Method EU won 3-2 against Reload Esports the last time they met in that series. Reload Esports won $1 in sewers. So that's interesting fact. Thank you so much for production. I don't know if you guys noticed as well. You guys watching from home, we've got some awesome stats as well from I think it was a couple games ago. We saw all of the comps and all their win percentages on that comps. So I think we've got a lot more where that came from. So definitely stay tuned if you guys like those statistics and those numbers and those win percentages. Definitely cool to see. Excited for more of those. But game number 5 coming soon. Method EU, Reload Esports. These guys are tied up. Neither of these teams have a match win yet on the board for the circuit. And as a reminder, these guys are trying to make it into the top 4 of their own regions to make it into the finals. So right now, it is absolutely crucial that they start getting in these wins now. Otherwise, they're going to have a very hard time down the road trying to catch up. And I think it was Ben, like, we'd have to do the math exactly, but I think it was Ben that said it, you know, if Method EU can't win here, they're gonna have to like win every single series here on out, which is not a fun position to be in. So both of these teams really not starting out on super solid ground at the moment yet as they head into the rest of these cups, because there's only 2 more after this one. So these guys have got to get these wins in early on if they want to get hopes of getting into that top 4, because right now the top 4 in Europe, Ven, is looking, you know, pretty, you know, we've got skill capped EU, and then for the last 3 teams it's kind of a little bit different than what we were expecting. So we kind of expected Method EU to be there. They're not, but now it's kind of looking like Reload Esports, if they can win the series especially, maybe a strong contender for that top 4.
Yeah, I mean, no doubt about it. Right now, I mean, some unexpected teams, Creed, I feel like they had a strong kind of cup performance, but they've only been getting better. I feel like for the most part, their team has just been improving week after week with better compositions, better synergy, and I feel like they're a strong contender for that top 4. And then, of course, you have a team like Tegrity Damp. I mean, their composition was quite frankly terrible. It was quite frankly terrible in the cup stage, but with some of the changes that have come in, the Restoration Druid is looking a lot better, the Affliction Warlock with the Shadow Priest looking a lot better, and this could be a team that upsets a lot of different rosters if they're not prepared for them. So I feel like them making it to the top 4 right now, they're 2-0. I'm curious to see how far they can take it, but that is another kind of wild card team at this point that, I mean, a lot of people wouldn't have expected to make it to top 4, but definitely has that potential. And then, of course, you have Kowana Gaming, super solid roster. I just feel like Europe is still so open that, I mean, if you're a team like Method EU, it's not free. You really, really have to pick up this win. And for Reload Esports, I mean, they're also a really solid roster. So either one of these teams has top 4 in the making, and I feel like this is one of those series that's going to be really crucial for either one of them to make it to that point.
Yeah, I think so as well, but I mean, I feel like it's just at this point, especially with this result here, which we're going to find out very shortly, it's almost like it doesn't matter how these guys performed for the first cups leading up to this circuit, because this is the proving ground. This is where we're finding out who are the top teams in their regions. We're going to find out very shortly who gets to put their first point on the board for the circuit series. Is it going to be Reload Esports or is it going to be Method EU?
All right, let's find that out. It's game number 5 here. Let's see. Method EU bringing out their Rogue Mage Priest here. Whaazz is playing double dance, not the single dance with Dark Shadow. So we're not going to be expecting to see, you know, those really, really big one-shots come out of him. And I'm actually not sure if I saw a wound poison on Whaazz there, but we'll see if he has that active. Full kidney shot onto Vilaye here. They got a sheep onto Lontar. No disperse being forced out just yet here. This is a great opener so far for Reload Esports. They traded out the Earthen Wall Totem, and they're able to actually trade nothing for that combustion there. And now Whaazz is going to be in a lot of trouble here. Merce is all over him with Avatar active, just doing tons of damage. Kidney shot, smoke bomb comes out here. They have the damage to back it up. Mercy actually forced to use his trinket. There's to die by the sword as well. Lontar caught in a full polymorph delay, getting sheep shot here on the master spell, and that's going to be, I think, the end of the trade here potentially. Whaazz still looking for some damage here. He's got a Shadowy Duel available if he wants to press it. He could actually try to take the game into his own hands here. He might choose to. He's stuck in a Stormbolt though right now, taking quite a beating. And Chaz now stuck in the Quaking Palm, potentially to get feared here. He gets silenced up. If they get a fear here onto Chaz, this could be big for Reload Esports. The momentum for both of these teams so far looking pretty good, but it's going to be Mercy trading out his trinket, and that's basically the end of that exchange.
Earth Elemental chasing Whaazz, keeping him in combat. Thesia sets up for Dragon's Breath Polymorph. Kidney shot onto Mercy.
Nice.
Ooh.
Hitting that minute 32 seconds, by the way. Minute and 32 right here. He's not dead. My prediction is wrong, but it was pretty close. It was a scary moment at a minute and 32 for Mercy at least. It was at least 25% accurate, but not 100%. Whaazz now in the Stormbolt, fainting. Chaz is stunned up. Mana not too great. Chaz actually running a really defensive Discipline Priest build with Archangel as opposed to Dark Archangel. So Method EU are not going all in on this Rogue Mage Priest. They're maybe even potentially trying to win in an attrition fight, just drag this out into deeper dampening. But we actually see Reload Esports playing triple Necro Lord. Is that 100% accurate on the UI? I'm trying to see if Vilaye has used Fleshcraft at any point. If we could follow Vilaye, I feel like it's not likely that he's playing Necrolord Priest.
He is.
Maybe Mercy is, if he wants to get more defensive options there. But Whaazz is currently disarmed at very low health. Chaz was trying to slip away and drink and regenerate mana to stay on even terms with Lontar. Dwarfshad is in for a Psychic Scream. Good setup by Chaz. Mercy slightly low on health here, popping the Ignore Pain. Should recover with Vilaye's Vampiric Embrace. Quite a sturdy composition brought in from Reload Esports. And if you're Method EU here, you're certainly not comfortable. You really can't afford this series in the circuit, having such a terrible start so far throughout their run. This could be a turning point for them. If they're not able to win, it might just spell their demise for the rest of the season or the rest of the circuit.
Yeah, definitely a scary moment. Method EU's had to play very defensive in this matchup so far. Whaazz getting absolutely blasted. Might have to trade out the Cloak of Shadows. Beautiful crowd control. Cheap shot on Vilaye. Kidney shot on Mercy. Polymorph on Lontar. Looking for a big setup, but once again, it's Whaazz on the back foot. Getting pressured down. Vilaye looking completely fine right now. He gets interrupted, but he has basically every defensive cooldown. Now Method EU, they're going to be on the run once again. And I mean, you said Method EU is going to look to attrition. Reload Esports, yeah, good luck with that one with the Discipline Priest against the Shadow Priest Warrior. That's going to be a tall order if that is their game plan. So they're going to have to look up, they're going to have to look for these setups, but Reload Esports kind of reading that, playing triple Necrolord. And that's basically so they can get the frictionless coding in stuns. It's going to make them really difficult for Method EU to actually drop someone. Lontar getting swapped to right now. That kidney shot basically doing nothing. And now Whaazz is going to have to retreat once again.
Yep, you took the words right out of my mouth. They're playing the frictionless coding, which is basically a selfie. Let's hold that thought for a second here. Whaazz is getting swapped to in a Stormbolt. Mercy's in battle stance, doing decent damage here. But Chaz has the Archangel, so he should be able to pick him up with the Rapture as well. There's a kidney shot onto Lontar, sheep shot onto Mercy. You're going after Vilaye here.
Nice
Here comes
Ring
the
of
damage,
Frost.
and that's going to be a nice double Ring of Frost, but that's going to be the dispersion here. They still have a lot of damage here. Vilaye might have to trade more. Combustion is still active. They have more crowd control. There's the Dragon's Breath. There's the Mind Control onto Lontar. Still a lot of damage onto Vilaye, and Vilaye gets the nice double fear right there, so he's able to break out of that one. But the frictionless coding right there, what it does essentially is when you drop under a certain amount of HP, it basically gives you an auto self-heal. So very, very sturdy. You can tell that the Reload Esports here, playing the triple Necro here, you just want to be as tanky as humanly possible here. And I think Vilaye also playing that Panda, so he's going to be able to access that Panda ratio, which is very useful if he gets stuck in a shadowy duel or something similar like that. So definitely a lot of options here, but the one saving grace so far for Method is that Chaz has been able to hold on to his mana very, very well. But here comes a swap onto Whaazz. He's forced to use his Trinket and his Evasion right there. Chaz also overlapping his Trinket, so now there's a checkmate situation here. All they have to do is fear Chaz with the Warrior Fear when it comes back up and stun Whaazz, or if they can get a Priest Fear from Vilaye, that's basically all they need to do here to checkmate this game. Reload Esports looking good.
They're going for a blind on Lontar, triple crowd control. They're not even getting a medallion. This is devastating. Mercy, Blade Storming, immunity to any future stuns. Frictionless coding going to absorb some damage here for Mercy. And they're going to stabilize. Now there's no threats. There's no smoke bomb. There's no shadowy duel. There's no blind. If I was Reload Esports, I would just put my foot maximum down on the gas pedal, close this game out. Chaz has basically no mana. They've choked them out to this point. They can just stay on target, rampage in with Flame Shock, Lava Burst. Lontar actually gives Whaazz a Shadow Step target to get away from the Warrior. Nice escape maneuver here by Whaazz, isolating Vilaye and actually getting a dispersion, trying to use Dwarf Shadows to escape. Chaz maybe trying to drink in the back line. Lontar is able to stop it. Chaz actually Dwarf Shadows in next to Whaazz, expecting a Stormbolt, trying to use the feint to reduce the damage on it, but hasn't committed the Stormbolt just yet. Mercy's actually going after Chaz a bit, trying to spread the pressure. Let's see that Unholy Nova coming out from Vilaye, just an extra dot adding into the mix. A little bit of self-sustain for the Shadow Priest as well. Not super big deal here, but they've set up triple crowd control. They're going after Mercy. Mercy's going to Trinket and fear them away. Where's the Stormbolt swap over to the Rogue? Fleshcraft should be more than enough to absorb the damage. Look at those shields coming in from the Necrolord Covenant. Chaz the target. Warbreaker on this stun. Pain Suppression trades out for Chaz. Is it going to be enough? It's going to cost him a lot of mana to recover through this. Mercy is not going anywhere at the moment. Caught in a Frost Nova. Dispelled out by Lontar. Lontar is getting aggressive. I really think Lontar should start purging a little bit more here. Get aggressive with his team with Lava Burst. He's such a huge advantage. Dragon's Breath, Polymorph. Where's the stop? Doesn't look like there is one. Mercy's on the run. Line of sighting. Mercy pre-Blade Storming. Avoiding the stun lock. They're going after Vilaye. Vilaye pre-Greater Fades. and immunes it. Really nice play right now from Reload Esports. They've avoided that setup. Now they're going after Lontar. Merce leaps over, disarms the rogue, shutting down all of the damage. They've got a shadowy duel. They've got one dance. They got blades coming up in 26 seconds. So what they need to do is live to the blades, shadowy duel Merce and a full kidney, and kill him 100-0. That's their last chance. They've got 18 seconds. They need to live 17 seconds, and they have to win with that.
Yeah, I mean, that's going to be difficult. Whaazz in execute range. Absolute desperation. Chaz trades out everything. He's got no mana. Here's the combustion set up onto Merce. Can he survive? Stormbolt onto Whaazz. They're trying to turn it around. Nice sap coming in from Whaazz.
They got
Continuing
parry.
crowd control chains to get the parry from Merce, but I don't know how much time they really have left. An evasion coming in from Whaazz. Poke Shadows, the last cooldown he's got to keep himself alive, but at the same time, Merce, he is incredibly scared. However, Thesia just used his combustion, so he's not going to have that combustion. He also doesn't have the meteor to help out Whaazz with that setup. Whaazz is going to have to 100-0 Merce if they want to do a shadowy duel attempt. There's no Dark Archangel. I just feel like he's not going to be able to do it, quite frankly.
Yeah,
That's
it's
it.
Gonna be a
Look at this.
desperation attempt here. That's it. They get a full fear. They get a full stun, and yeah, there's the Spirit Link as well coming out, and unbelievable. Look at the relief on Vilaye's face right now. He's just so happy right there.
Oh, I wish we held on that longer, on that view longer. Sorry,
Yeah.
go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, it's just you can tell that's for sure a man who played a long game there, and he was targeted a lot of the time, and finally they're able to get the victory on the side of Reload Esports, and they take a win against Method, putting them at 0-3 so far in the circuit.
Look at this. I mean, Whaazz was just getting owned basically the whole game in this matchup. That triple Necrolord looks quite formidable in terms of bolstering their defense, but this is where they have a tough choice. Chaz wants to drink, but he has to heal Whaazz because Whaazz doesn't have cooldowns, and then they're trying to bait them away from Chaz a little bit later on, I think. They use Barrier, and then right here, I think Whaazz escapes away. He's trying to get distance from Chaz, get distance from the Warrior, but then they're stacked up. Double Fear. Vilaye punishes the whole team, crowd controlling everybody. Thesia blocks out to try and help, but what is Thesia going to do? He's too far away, and they've just isolated Whaazz. So Reload Esports came in well prepared with this composition. Their Warrior Shadow Priest Shaman is a threat now. We're seeing a lot of different compositions starting to rise in patch 9.0.5. Still a little bit of the lingering kind of Warrior Mage Paladin, I think, especially in North America. But now, based off this series, there are definitely options that the teams need to get ready for, and we might see an upheaval of the best teams in both regions.